And we're ready to go. First ever Grey Cup here at this beautiful stadium, and conditions couldn't be better. Suits.
Great week in Winnipeg. Conditions are excellent. Should not be a factor tonight. Time to play ball.
There's Jamel Smith along with Chris Williams back. Crenshaw kicks it off. Grey Cup 103 underway. And Smith heading east first. Now cuts it upfield. And up across the 35-yard line to set things up for the most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League, Henry Burris, who won in hostile territory in 2008, beat the Alouettes in Montreal, lost to the Rough Riders at Mosaic 2 years ago.
15-year career and a career high in passing yards. That led the league. The oldest player in CFL history to do that was the MOP, crowned on Thursday of Grey Cup week. He gets the first offensive series.
Number one offense in terms of yards generated during the regular season. And they go to the near side of the field, and it's knocked down. Chris Williams, the intended target, and Koshi Mwamba may have saved a touchdown on the first play of the game.
He may have saved a touchdown, and if he got his other hand up, he may have scored a touchdown. The Ottawa REDBLACKS wasting no time to go ahead and attack this vaunted Edmonton defense, a defense that everyone has talked about all season long. Chris Jones wanted an interception there.
Second and 10. Eskimos rush for. Burris throws. It's complete. Maurice Price has the catch. And the initial first down. Aaron Grimes, the tackle, just beyond the Ottawa 50.
First time in Ottawa football history, they had 4 receivers at the 1,000-yard mark. Here is 3 of them. The speed guy is Chris Williams. He'll be on the outside. He was the target on that deep throw. Sinopoli was your outstanding Canadian in 15. The hottest receiver in the corps has been Greg Ellingson.
And the 5th receiver has the first catch. He had 5 in the Grey Cup last year. And a slant pattern is caught. And there's the hero of the Eastern Final, Greg Ellingson. Mwamba with the tackle.
Red hot the last month and a half, the last 2 games of the regular season. Greg Ellingson had 13 catches, 338 yards, and of course Ottawa fans remember the 93-yarder to get Ottawa to this game against Hamilton in the East Final.
20-yard pickup for Ellingson. The REDBLACKS scored a touchdown on their opening possession last week in the Eastern Final, did it 5 times during the regular season. They empty it out, 6 receivers for Burris. Over the middle, the crosser is caught by the running back, William Powell. And again, Mwamba in on the stop.
Chris Jones' defense talked about all season long. The #1 defense in the league against the pass. It starts at the corner with John Ojo. 5 interceptions on the season for him. J.C. Sherritt is the run stopper in the middle. He'll scrape to the run game. Odell Willis will play all across that defensive line and in the linebacking core. He led the team in sacks.
Henry Burris, the first Ottawa MOP since Tony Gabriel, 3 for 4. On 2nd and 3, William Powell will run for the first down. Powell just 6 regular season games, but became so dangerous that even with the health of Jeremiah Johnson, they've stuck with Powell in the postseason.
Henry Burris said coming into the Grey Cup week that he wanted to play mad, that he was trying to find that chip to push him that extra. He'd take up first play of the game, went deep to Chris Williams.
3 first downs on the opening possession. Play action fake. Burris on a roll. Got an open man. Chris Williams. And he's bumped out around the 4-yard line. Make it the 3, and it's another 22-yard pickup.
This offense looks sharp. Jason Moss got them going. Henry Burris at the controls. They get a little room because they go deep and play 1, and now this is a little play action roll from Henry Burris, moving the pocket outside, and he finds his speedster in the receiving core, Chris Williams.
REDBLACKS yet to beat Edmonton in 2 seasons. Burris without a touchdown pass against the Eskimos in 2 seasons. First and goal. Burris dumps it off. That's a touchdown pass. Patrick LeBlanc in. Touchdown.
What an opening drive. They're the underdogs coming in. But they attacked out of the gate. Henry Burris with a deep throw to start this drive off. Wasn't complete, in fact, almost intercepted. But he was almost perfect the rest of the way.
Now Chris Milo, the extra point is good. What a start.
The only incompletion, the first throw on the deep ball.
So Milo to kick it off. Kendall Lawrence with the return. And Lawrence up around the 40-yard line. Did that ball pop loose? Looks like Ottawa may be on it. It's red-black football. Antoine Pruneau comes out of the pile with the ball.
Antoine Pruneau, the starting linebacker, also led the team in special teams tackles. Is he down by contact when the ball is out? It doesn't look like it. It looks like that ball came out.
I think that's Jake Hardy, the rookie, who is able to knock the ball loose.
Like one more look at it here. Does the knee touch before the ball is knocked out loose? No, that ball is out and loose before the right knee touches. It looks like from that angle.
So Pruneau the recovery, Hardy the forced fumble, and right back to work goes Burris, and the Red Blacks first down at the Eskimo 40. Ernest Jackson in motion. William Powell the cutback, second level to the 25, 15 for Powell.
Well, I love the game plan for the Ottawa Red Blacks and Jason Maas. He starts the first series with a deep ball, then he's going to come with pressure from this side of the formation from the secondary, and what does he do? He runs right at that pressure. Go ahead and attack the pressure that they're trying to send. A nice move in the open field by William Powell. Good yardage on first down in the first play of the drive.
Powell, the top running back in the league over the final 4 games of the regular season. Pressure over the middle, it's caught. And another Ottawa first down around the 10-yard line. And that is the 6th different receiver. Ernest Jackson's got a catch.
Chris Williams is the speed guy. Brad Sinopoli and Greg Ellingson, the possession receivers that can still go deep, and Ernest Jackson can do it all. Big physical receiver, and he takes 3 or 4 Edmonton Eskimos for another 3 or 4 yards at the top of that play.
How about the game plan for Jason Maas so far? First down at the 10. Back in Powell's hands, kicks it outside. And he'll get pushed back from around the 6-yard line.
Brilliant game plan by offensive coordinator Jason Maas. Said to Henry Burris the first day they met and got together, he said, listen, this offense is complicated, but if you apply yourself, there's an answer on every play.
Only 1 for 5 this season in the red zone against Edmonton. 1 for 1 so far. And it's 2nd and goal from the 7. Gotta get it off, and they do. Over the middle, touchdown! Ernest Jackson. Stunning stunt. And shades of 81.
As the week went on, they became bigger underdogs for some reason, and they shouldn't be, because this was an offense where their quarterback threw for almost 6,000 yards. They had 4,000-yard receivers. Ernest Jackson was one of them. We shouldn't be surprised at this start from their offense.
Milo, the extra point has been missed. And so it will be a 13-point lead. Ernest Jackson, the touchdown, capping a 4-play, 40-yard drive. A remarkable start for the Red Blacks. 13-0 before the Eskimos offense, and number 13 have hit the field. So Kendall Lawrence, who was a big difference maker against Ottawa this year, on a return, and he stopped up just beyond the 30. Let's take a look at the two quick Ottawa scores.
Well, it was a great start on the first drive, a 65-yard drive where Henry Burris was 5 for 6, including the touchdown throw to Lavoie. And this was the last touchdown where he goes to Ernest Jackson, 88 yards passing and 2 touchdowns for Henry Burris at 40 years young.
Here's a look at the arena TD Place. They're sold out there, and they like the start they've seen. And now Mike Riley gets to go to work. First time on the Grey Cup stage. And his first pass is complete to a Darius Bowman. 1,304 yards during the regular season, the second best total of the CFL.
8 straight wins when Mike Riley returned to the lineup from injury. Hurt in the very first game of the season out in Fort McMurray against Toronto. Team did not lose another game with him starting at quarterback, including the West Final against the Calgary Stampeders. Down 13 in his first throw.
370 yards last week. Handoff of Keem Shavers. Good second effort. And Shavers runs close to another first down.
Got some great weapons on the short side of the field, and 1-2 punch into Darius Bowman, who finished second in the CFL in receiving yards at 1,304, and Darrell Walker, the most outstanding rookie in the CFL this year in just 12 games. If the Ottawa defense rolls to Bowman and Walker on the short side of the field, don't forget about Kenny Stafford. Had a big game in the West Final with 3 catches for 76 yards.
Defensive tackle Moten Hopkins has been shaken up. And David Wright out to attend to him. We'll see Jonathan Williams come in to take his spot. And from the looks of the first half, or the first half of the opening quarter, we may get a real shootout here.
You know, there's all kinds of weapons on the field. Talked about those 4,000-yard receivers for Ottawa. Henry Burris, his personal best year, MOP in the league for the second time. They're off to a great start. Mike Riley's got his first drive going out of the gate. Lots of weapons on the field for these 2 veteran quarterbacks.
4 consecutive 300-yard games for Riley, a career best, working against an Ottawa defense that surrendered the fewest yards this season. Once again, Shavers off the left side, tripped up, but enough for the first down.
Just a gut feeling of mine. Mike Riley over the last month and a half hasn't run the ball much. If he does, it'll be up to Justin Capicotti, who led the team in sacks with 12, and Sean Lemon off the edges to try and contain Mike Riley in the run game. They've had to shift Abdul Kanay, their best defensive back and cover man, to halfback because Jarrell Gavin's not available due to injury, and they'll play Brandon Sermons on the corner.
Riley didn't play Ottawa in the 2 meetings back in July. Arrogant out for Kenny Stafford, and he can't make the catch. Isolated on Antoine Pruneau, but a flag down on the play.
Teams in the back half of the season have tried to do this a little bit on Antoine Pruneau and test him in the pass coverage area. 55 tackles on the year, had a couple of interceptions when he's been tested.
Pass interference, Ottawa, number 21. Spotted foul, automatic, first down.
Number called was Brandon Sermons. We believe it was on Pruneau. And we're going to get a challenge from Rick Campbell at the Red Blacks bench.
I agree with you, Chris. It looked like the call was on Antoine Pruneau for screening, put his hands.
Ottawa is challenging the previous play on defensive pass interference. This is a reviewable call. We will review.
So an early challenge. Rick Campbell successful on 2 of 9 challenges this season.
That's the corner, Brandon Sermons. So it was the wrong number up at the top, the intended target, but plus you can't be pass interference unless the ball is thrown to that receiver who was Kenny Stafford. So the number was called incorrectly, and the call for pass interference right there on Antoine Pruneau. I don't think there's any question. There's screening well before the ball arrived and a push from Pruneau. The confusion, and I think one of the reasons Rick Campbell challenged, was because of the number called on the penalty.
So a 33-yard play hangs in the balance.
Technically, you don't have to look back to the football as long as the timing on your hand going in front of the face of the receiver is good. In other words, as the ball's arriving, you shoot your hand in as a defender and knock the ball down. That's legal. If the hand drags for a while.
After review, we are confirming that there was pass interference. However, it was on Ottawa number 6.
So the clarification, call stands. First down Edmonton. And they're in the red zone at the 17-yard line. And in their last 3 games, 9 touchdowns in 12 trips inside the 20. Riley looking for Stafford again and overshoots the intended target with Brandon Thompson in coverage.
Brandon Thompson was in pretty good position there on the corner route to get there. This ball would have had to be dropped right up and over his shoulder on this corner, and Brandon Thompson plays it very well. Takes away inside position, so Kenny Stafford can't make that post move or seed move, and that ball would have had to be thrown perfectly, and it was just outside.
REDBLACKS without an all-star defensive halfback, Jerome Gavins, not available for this game. Hamstring injury, 2nd and 10. Riley, second read, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Intended for Stafford at the goal line once again.
You wondered with the juggling in the secondary for Ottawa if that would affect their coverage. Jerome Gavins, one of the top receivers, Eastern All-Star, not available due to injury, so they move Abdul Kanay inside. Now they're testing that opposite side, and that's twice now that Brandon Thompson has come up with big plays. Good coverage on Kenny Stafford and the knockdown on 2nd down.
So Sean White is on to attempt a 24-yarder like Milo. Discarded early in the year. Went from Montreal to Edmonton. Lynch the holder, and White puts it through. REDBLACKS with a 13-3 lead here at Investors Group Field. Henry Burris and Ottawa start at their own 35. And Burris out of the pocket, and he'll get tripped up just beyond the line of scrimmage. Winnipeg native Eddie Steele with the tackle as we join Farhan Lalji.
Thanks, Chris. Henry Burris said he had instant respect for Jason Moss as a first-time offensive coordinator, primarily because of his intelligence. When Moss went through the NFL Combine, he scored the 3rd highest Wonderlic score in the history of the Combine. The other thing is, he gave Burris instant ownership. At the start of the season, the two of them negotiated through the reads on every play. Once they made a decision that Moss said he could not deviate from it, they've been so much on the same page at times, he's let Burris call his own plays.
Well, Burris threw up a duck there, and it's intercepted. Patrick Watkins on the deep throw has the interception for the Eskimos. There's the veteran Pat Watkins, and the turnover count now even at 1 apiece. Eskimos take over just inside their own 50-yard line. And Riley will swing it out. There's Caleb Lewis. And he gets 3 tough yards, knocked down by Brandon Sermons, as we check in with Sarah Orleski.
Chris, among the many people that have had an influence on Mike Riley, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Riley was only in Green Bay for a very short period of time, but he said Riley included him, treated him like one of the guys, even though he was a rookie practice roster player from a Division II college. He said when he saw the way that Rodgers treated players as well as fans in Green Bay, he said if Aaron Rodgers can be like that, I know I can be like that too.
Well, he's led this team to 9 consecutive wins, something no Eskimo quarterback's ever done in a season. Kenny Stafford, and a big hit at the end of the play, but Stafford hangs on. He's been the favorite target in this first quarter.
Ottawa trying to roll their coverage a little bit to the short side to try and help with the Darius Bowman and Darrell Walker. So that means Stafford to the wide side of the field.
Ottawa, number 52, penalties declined. Play results in the first down.
John Lemon was offside, but the play will stand. 24-yard pickup.
He's going to get his chances, and you saw him run a corner route where Brandon Thompson was in pretty good position. This time they're going to play the zone. Thompson jumps that short route, drops Stafford to the safety, Jermaine Robinson.
Big hit at the end of the play, and now Kendall Lawrence, the fake sweep, takes off for the first time. You anticipated this, Glenn, that we'd see a little more running by Mike Riley in this final game of the year, 9 on his first carry.
You know, in the 8 games that he played and started, Mike Riley led all quarterbacks in rush yards per game. And he'll run this read and react or ride and decide play opposite of most people.
9 yards and a second and short. Not much of a serve. Justin Capicotti, the outstanding Canadian defensive end, with first contact on the quarterback.
Henry Burris has been in the Grey Cup before. This is his 3rd start in a Grey Cup game. Mike Riley has not. This is his first. There's going to be nerves. And one way you can settle those nerves is take a couple of hits. Now, he came out in that first series and he was throwing it, but I won't be surprised at all to see Mike Riley take off and run before this one's over a bunch.
You're right, and Sarah mentioned small school Central Washington didn't have a major bowl game, so this is a different stage for Mike Riley. But everything we've seen would suggest he's going to be able to handle it. First down, Riley to throw. Looking for Darius Bowman. Touchdown! On the money to his favorite target. And it's a 23-yard touchdown strike.
Ottawa's made a living on a rushing 4, and Riley has all the protection he needs up front to allow Darius Bowman to the right side of the offensive formation to run that seam route just right down the middle. Right down the hash mark on Brandon Thompson. In behind coverage by 2.5 steps, and Darius Bowman makes no mistake on the catch.
So Mike Riley's got his first Grey Cup touchdown pass. Bowman had a 3-touchdown game against the REDBLACKS last year. And Sean White has the extra point. And the Eskimos are within 3 after trailing by 13.
Veteran group up front that's played their best football in the back half of the season. That offensive line, they settle in and they handle the 4-man pressure well. Little chip there from Akeem Shavers off the edge. That gives Riley all the time he needs. Now watch the Darius moment. He knows that Brandon Thompson's going to take that inside, so he just straight down uses his speed and waits for Riley to drop it over his inside shoulder. Can't throw a better ball than Mike Riley does right there at the back of the end zone.
So for the 5 possessions have resulted in points, 5 plays, and a 61-yard touchdown drive for the Eskimos.
What is a bit of a surprise is that Edmonton offensively is going after the wide side of the field and Brandon Thompson, not where the Ottawa REDBLACKS had to make the change in their secondary on the opposite side.
Weren't these the top 2 ranked defensive teams coming in? Here's Jamil Smith looking for a crease. And it's leveled just beyond the 30-yard line. So Burris goes back to work. as we check the oldest quarterbacks to ever start in a Grey Cup. Ronnie Lancaster, Anthony Calvillo, the second oldest. Henry Burris this year at 40 years, 6 months. The oldest in Ottawa in 2004, Grey Cup champion Damon Allen.
Came back, Damon Allen, who won an MOP after that year in 2004. Henry Burris has made Father Time miss this year.
See how he rebounds after that interception. Going to hand it off to Powell. And William Powell with a good surge. Follows the blocking and crosses the 40 for a first down. Patrick Lebois opens up a hole, and it's an 11-yard gain.
Chris Jones likes to give you different sets, different looks up front defensively. They'll move Odell Willis around, and the way you can try and catch them in that movement is to just run the ball. Just hit it up in there with William Powell and see how they handle that, and if they get to their sets quicker.
Eskimos #1 against the pass, #2 against the run this year. But they're playing against a team that was #1 throwing the football, #1 in yardage overall. And Bruce under pressure here. Marcus Howard will bring it down. First sack of the game. A flag comes down at the end of the play as Burris is dropped around the 25. Would have been a loss of 17.
Yeah, flag right beside Henry Burris, and Marcus Howard, by his reaction, looks like some unnecessary roughness on the tackle on Burris.
After the play, major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton, number 91. From the dead ball spot, up 15, first down.
Mandate is to protect the quarterbacks, has been for some time. What does Marcus Howard do after? He gets up and gives Burris a forearm shot to the side of the head as he's trying to get up. It didn't look like it was intentional, like he was swinging at him. It looked like he was just trying to get up off the pile.
Now just off the 60, disabled. Let's back to William Powell, and he spins off first contact and then gets driven back.
But a major break and a questionable call for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. They were a loss of 17 and looking at kicking that football away, and now they get a new set of downs.
Powell gets 3, and it's 2nd and 7.
But he did make contact to the head, and they're watching the quarterbacks closely.
With 26 different starters this year, that's why there's that emphasis. More pressure, and they get to the quarterback again. Big series with Howard and Willis, the defensive ends, closing down and heating up Burris. Downs off turnovers. A pretty wild first quarter.
Yeah, Henry Burris throws for 88 yards in his first 2 series, of course, after the turnover by Kendall Lawrence and 2 touchdowns. But what I liked about the first quarter, Chris, is that we've heard all season the talk about Edmonton's defense. Ottawa's heard all season that same talk and how good they are. And what did Henry Burris do in the first play? He went deep, saying the message was, we're not scared of that Edmonton defense. Now Edmonton has rallied all the way back in the second half of that first quarter.
And now Chris Milo to punt it away. First punt of the game. Kendall Lawrence fields it at the 37-yard line. A 41-yard punt by Milo.
Mike Riley does not look like the nerves in his first start in a Grey Cup are getting to him. Stephen McAdoo, the offensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos, is making the adjustment on the fly already. He sees the extra coverage that Adarius Bowman and Darrell Walker got early in that first quarter. He went to Kenny Stafford. When they went balanced, he went back to Adarius Bowman for the touchdown.
Haven't heard from Darrell Walker yet. Top rookie in the league this year. Maybe here looked his way, but now it's in the hands of Akeem Shavers, who is brought down around the 45-yard line. Give Shavers 3. But Darrell Walker likely to be heard from today.
And a player that Ottawa has not played against. The 2 teams played each other early in the season. seems like a year ago now, and it was in July. So Darrell Walker not in the lineup, started the season on the practice roster, but his first 3 games, 31 catches, almost 500 yards. He exploded on the scene.
11 catches in the Western Final, the 5th time this year, 10 or more. Flight comes down. Riley with the pass complete to Shavers. He's going to be short of the first down. That ball popped loose on the whistle, and it's going to be run back into the end zone by Brandon Thompson. There's a flag down. Let's find out. Were the Red Blacks offside?
Offside, Ottawa, number 93. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Former Eskimo Justin Capicotti offside.
Take a look at Justin Capicotti down at the bottom of the line in that 2-point stance, jumps into the neutral zone, takes a fumble for a touchdown off the board.
Guys confirming down in our truck that it was a fumble. Nullified by the offside that sets up 2nd and 2. Shavers. And that should be enough for the first down.
Mark Nelson's defense ranks 1st in the league against the run. And just like Henry Burris attacked with a deep ball in his first throw of this game against the Edmonton defense, Edmonton is testing that run defense that ranked number 1 in the league for the Ottawa Red Blacks with a little Akeem Shavers.
Shavers, the 3rd different running back this season. Just 2 regular season games, a play action fake and a pass drop. And there's Bowman. There's usually 1 in a game for him. Darius Bowman, as good as he is, and he hopes that's it for the night.
I asked him about it and if he was tired of hearing about it, and he said, well, I am a little, but you know, I'll tell you, I do it, and I've got to stop doing it, especially on the big stage. And he has a touchdown catch already in this game, but there's his drop. Edmonton fans hope it's his only one.
What an athlete. Made the North Carolina basketball team, then became academically ineligible, went to Oklahoma State, top-ranked receiver in the country, and by the way, he also has a 7'2"
Edmonton,
high jump.
58, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Saw Tony Washington move prematurely, and that backs up Edmonton 5 yards.
Yeah, when you're as good as Darius Bowman, Chris Jones will tell you, they'll put up with one every now and then that he'll drop, because he'll catch 6-7 for over 100 yards in the game after that drop.
6 for 74 and a touchdown last week against Calgary. So 2nd and 15. 4-man rush. Pressure on. Riley ducked underneath, but doesn't maintain his balance and is brought down for a loss. And the Eskimos will punt for the first time.
Looked like it may have been Jonathan Williams that came late on the blitz. No, Williams was inside. No, it was an outside blitz.
David Hines, the weak side linebacker, with first contact. Grant Shaw, tumbling boot. There's Jamil Smith to pick it up, and he's got the edge. Little skip there, and he's across the 45 on the return. Here, Red Blacks, first down at their own 46. Inside handoff, and Powell trying to cut back into traffic.
Well, Chris Jones signed as the head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos back in the end of November of 2013. Took over Edmonton after just a 4-win season that year and improved it to 12 wins, and he's done it with tremendous defense. Points allowed first in the league this year. Yards rushing second behind Ottawa. It's the #1 ranked defense.
Head coach, defensive coordinator. Sends 3 here, drops 9. They throw the screen, and here's Powell. Cuts back, and he's got a first down and more. William Powell finds a crease in that Chris Jones defense for a first down into Eskimo territory.
Chris Jones will do this and has done a ton of it all year long. I talked to Henry Burris about it when he gets 3-man pressure, how he might try and beat the 3-man pressure from Edmonton. He said there's a couple of ways we could screen against it with William Powell, drop it underneath to him and let him do his magic in the open field, or I'm going to run it myself. And what a move by Powell on the cutback on J.C. Sharon, one of the best tacklers at linebacker in the league.
Winnipeg native Keenan LaFrance checks into the offense for Ottawa. 24-yard pickup for Powell. And a red-black first down. For a short drop, second read over the middle. He's got Patrick Lavoie. Another Ottawa first down.
After that run, Odell Willis didn't even rush. He was just spying to see if that's what Henry Burris would go back to, another screen to Powell or maybe run himself. So Willis on the right side of your screen here, watch how he just doesn't even get up the field here. He's just going to wait, spying Henry Burris in case he runs, and Burris hits his tight end.
Second catch for the Laval product, Lavoie. First down. Burris got time, and that ball is incomplete. Looked like it would have been picked off. Watkins had his hands on it.
Patrick Watkins almost had the second of the game for him, and boy, he's excited to play in this Grey Cup. Chris Jones brought him to Edmonton when Jones signed. They worked together in Toronto, and in that 2012 Grey Cup, Patrick Watkins was one of the #1 corners in the league that year, but couldn't play in the Cup because he was injured.
Ellickson ends up playing DB there to break it up. So 2nd and 10.
Burris out of being on this play.
Just gets the play off, and the pass is caught. Boy, that was a tight window, and Brad Sinopoli, the CFL's top Canadian, former Ottawa GG quarterback, Peterborough native, has his first catch.
1,000-yard season for Brad Sinopoli. What a transition he has made. An all-star with the Ottawa GGs as a quarterback. Drafted by the Calgary Stampeders, made the transition to receiver. And he's not only playing receiver, but he's making a difference. He's an impact player and makes a catch right over the head of J.C. Sharon.
Gain of 9, 3rd and 1, and Rick Campbell sends the field goal unit on. 7th different receiver that Burris has deployed so far. From 26 yards out, and Milo puts that through. 6-point red-black lead midway through the second quarter in the 103rd Grey Cup. Fourth meeting between Ottawa and Edmonton in a Grey Cup. Ottawa winning in 1960 and 73. A memorable 1981 when the Eskimos were 22.5-point favorites and trailed 20-1 at the half. Came down to a Dave Cutler field goal on the final play of the game.
Rick Campbell was 10 years old watching his dad coach the Edmonton Eskimos that Grey Cup in '81.
Dad watching in San Diego. You and Rick's mom Louise watching there. The swing pass here. And Kendall Lawrence taken down.
Quite remarkable. There's your coach of the year in 2015, Rick Campbell. His dad won the same honor in 1979. Hugh Campbell, you're talking about football royalty. Was the head coach in Edmonton in 1981. Rick Campbell was 10. He watched from home.
Only Grey Cup he went to with his dad was 77. That was the Ice Bowl where they were trounced by the Alouettes. So no wonder he didn't had to earn a trip back after that. Second down, O'Reilly's got some time. And now runs out of the pocket, and he's got Shamon Chambers There's a catch, bounced out at midfield. Markham product Shamad Chambers, who's bounced back after an ACL injury last year.
Right now, Ottawa's dropping into covers. They're not sending a lot of blitz at Mike Riley, so he's patient. He's waiting. Lots of protection up front. Double teams to the right here. Double teams up front. Just three-man pressure from Ottawa. With the double teams, Riley knows he has time. Buys a little more to get outside and then dumps it off to Shamad Chambers for a 17-yard catch and run.
Here's Kane on the blitz, and Riley just got it away. Incomplete.
Mark Nelson just decided, okay, I don't want to watch Mike Riley be that patient. Went right back to a little bit of secondary blitz from Abdul Kane. Kane tied for the league lead in interceptions, but that was from the corner spot where he played all year. He's playing at halfback for Jarrell Gavins in this one.
Sean Lemon, defensive end, also with pressure. Kane has family watching on BT Sport tonight in London. BT Sport carrying the game in Great Britain and Ireland. Second down and a completion. There's Darrell Walker, Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League, has his first catch.
Brandon Sermons is the replacement, and he gets pushed out of bounds by Sermons. And what I've seen so far away from the play is that they're doubling Darrell Walker and Adarius Bowman's side. In other words, playing man on them, but they've, during the game, had a deep player in case one of those two players tried to get up on top. That time they didn't. It was straight man, and they went to Darrell Walker.
Sixth different receiver that Riley's connected with. Kendall Lawrence is in the backfield. He takes the handoff and plows ahead down around the 36-yard line.
I think Mike Riley might take note of that play. They went to Kendall Lawrence up front, and then they had Akeem Shavers come outside as another option. Had Mike Riley kept the ball there, he might have had a big one to Shavers.
4 yards for Lawrence, 3 touchdowns in 2 games against Ottawa this year. But then again, it was end of July, and a lot of things have changed on both sides of the football since then.
Mike Riley didn't even play in those games.
6 play of the drive. 2nd and 6. Riley throws the out, incomplete. Kane was in tight coverage against Bowman. And the red-black defense comes up with a stop.
This is what I'm talking about. Right now, Jermaine Robinson is favoring that side of the field. Now, he lines up here at the safety, but he's going to come over because over here in the one-on-ones, there's Bowman and there's Darrell Walker. The 1-2 punch in that receiving core, and he's going to favor that side. He's looking this way, and you see him just drift over just in case one of those 2 receivers are going to go deep, and that brings up Kenny Stafford as the answer to the wide field. We'll see.
Sean White comes on to attempt a 45-yarder. A lot of guys have motivation. Sean White, a little extra motivation, let go by Montreal. Ottawa was looking for a kicker and did not pick him up. But White has missed here. Jamil Smith thought about bringing it out, and now will take a knee. Henry Burris going back to work, the only quarterback who has ever started for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
Take a look at Odell Willis now. He's lined up a defensive tackle, like Coach mentioned. They'll move him around.
Bouncing around to the outside once again. As Burris throws to the wide side, there's the speedster, Chris Williams. First down across the 50.
Interesting, Chris Williams is the fastest receiver in the core. 8 catches for over 30 yards. Greg Ellingson had more than that. He had 11. Deceptive speed from Ellingson, and just because Williams is the fastest doesn't mean he's always the deep threat. Ellingson can get deep. Sinopoli can get deep. It's what Williams can do with the ball in his hands after the catch that's dangerous.
At number 1 in yards after the catch this team, and here's Ernest Jackson on the end around, and he is met at midfield. Marcel Young, the tackle.
First time in Ottawa football history, they had 4 receivers over 1,000 yards and a 40-year-old quarterback almost at 6,000. In fact, no Ottawa team has ever had 3 1,000-yard receivers. It was that kind of year for the Red Blacks.
Back just the third team in CFL history with 4 in a season. Montreal did it twice in the Anthony Calvillo era. Goes throwing wide side. Is it caught? They're ruling incomplete. Ellingson matched up against Watkins, and it skips into his hands. And it will be third down.
Zero argument from Greg Ellingson.
By the way, met Greg's dad today on the street from Florida. Said this is the greatest week of his life. He likes Grey Cup week.
Well, that had to have been the greatest play from his son, Greg Ellingson. The 93-yarder on 2nd and 25 in the East Final to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats with about 1:20 left in the game. That was magic.
Melo to put pressure on, and he gets a good one away. Lawrence back at the 15. And taken down quickly. Eskimos' worst field position start of this first half. They begin at their own 21. Play action fake to Chambers, and there's Shamot. Chambers in flight, and Chambers all the way up to midfield.
Play action fake draws the attention of the Ottawa defenders. That fake is right here to Shavers, and that'll pull them up, cause the defenders for the Red Blacks to freeze, and there's Chambers who's going to open up in the hole. Mike Riley finds him, hits him right on the numbers. 32-yard gain for Shamot Chambers.
Mentioned bouncing back off an ACL injury, just 3 catches, 13 yards regular season, a 32-yard grab in the Grey Cup game. And now the riding the side, the fake to Shavers, and there's Mike Riley. We had a fun conversation with him the other day. Somebody from the CFL.ca website questioned his mobility, and Mike took exception with that, and why not? He's a terrific running quarterback. He might not want to run a whole lot during the regular season coming off a knee injury, but he's at full speed now.
He'll do whatever it takes now, too. Absolutely fearless.
Well, get ready for an epic new series. Entertainment Weekly calls Game of Thrones in Space The Expanse. 2-night series premiere event December 14th and 15th. Can't wait. Watch the premiere now at space.ca.
Mike Riley's the only guy that can run that zone read play, and he's the interior runner, not the running back, because he's tough enough to do it. Run between the tackles.
Ran for a pair of touchdowns last week. Wide side throw, and there's Walker. He gets stacked up. Swarm there, short of the first down. Ottawa 13 first downs in this first half. The Eskimos have 11, and a 2nd and short here.
Texas A&M, Darrell Walker was catching passes there from Johnny Manziel, and now from Mike Riley. I mentioned he exploded on the scene, but has been hot in the back half of the season as well, averaging 11 targets a game. He's been targeted that many times per game.
Led the league in catching yardage per game, 92.5. There's the mobile quarterback running for the first down.
If you project Darrell Walker's numbers over an entire season, he would have led the league. 1665, played just 12 games, was on the practice roster trying to learn the offense. When he got his chance, boy, he took full advantage. And he can pick him up and put him down. That guy can run by. He's got another speed. He puts it in gear in the open field. Watch out. You better get on your horse.
We're here in the final minute of this first half. Eskimos moving into scoring position. Another catch for Walker, who has another first down.
Well, right now, Mike Riley's working that intermediate route to Darrell Walker, and he's trying to pull up the rookie and Brandon Sermons to get him to try and play tighter on him. So they'll run a couple of these. These are twice in the same series now that they've gone intermediate outs to Darrell Walker. Watch for the double move or the straight post down the middle coming up and see if they can test Sherman deep.
Sermons with just 2 game starts for the Red Blacks. Up against the guy you mentioned, projected, could have led the league in receiving over 8 games. Like a bust there, but wide open for Akeem Shavers, who gets driven out around the 2. Riley went to fake it, nobody was there, but Shavers with the catch.
Well, Abdul Kane comes up and holds him out of the end zone. It looked like he was going to walk in here. Now Kane closes quickly and puts a good hit on Shavers. The ball pops out, but it goes out of bounds, so Edmonton will retain possession down inside the 5.
First and goal at the 2, and
timeout call. Edmonton, I need 15 seconds on the game clock. 15 seconds.
so they get the timeout just before a time count. A little frustration they didn't get that play off.
Chris Jones gets the 5 extra seconds. May need him on the 2-yard line here.
Eskimos looking for the halftime lead. Riley throws open man, end zone, touchdown, Akeem Shavers.
Early on, I mentioned that play in the inside run to Kendall Lawrence where Shavers went outside and was really wide open. I watched Mike Riley look at Shavers and say, let's go back to that, and guess what they do when they need it most? Right down on the doorstep. Shavers not picked up by David Hines. He got caught looking at Riley.
First lead of the game for Edmonton. Akeem Shavers has his first touchdown in the Canadian Football League. And Chris Jones going for 2.
Rule change this year, moved the 2-point convert attempt to the 3-yard line. Teams hit on 62%.
Riley through the reads, back to the end zone, incomplete. So it remains a 1-point lead. Kenny Stafford was the target. But Edmonton fights back after being down by 13 early.
Akeem Shavers is not really going to fake anything here. He's just taking off to the flat, and his coverage responsibility is on David Hines. He can't get there in time. Number 20 out of the linebacking core hesitates while he looks at Riley for a split second, and then he loses leverage on Akeem Shavers.
Shavers was in the Red Black camp in training camp, but knew he was going to be the odd man out behind Siobhan Walker, the incumbent, and Jeremiah Johnson.
Incredible athlete. When he first got to Edmonton, Aaron Grimes in the secondary had got injured, and they moved Shavers over to defense and said, hey, can you play a little DB for us? And he was pretty good back there. And then when Aaron Grimes came back, they could move him back to offense starting in his Grey Cup.
Jamel Smith, fake to Williams, and is dragged down around the 32-yard line. The tackle on the play made by Corey Jones.
Well, the first 2 series ended in touchdowns for Henry Burris, but the defense for the Edmonton Eskimos have made some adjustments.
A little reminiscent of the very first Red Black game here in Winnipeg last year. They scored touchdowns in their first 3 possessions. Were caught in the 4th quarter.
I'm going to take this 1-point deficit into the locker room at halftime.
So a virtual saw-off. Odell Willis with a little tap there to make sure Henry was touchdown.
Willis got the sack.
And so the teams will head to the locker rooms. An 8-play, 88-yard touchdown drive late by Edmonton puts them ahead at the half. Quick start for Ottawa, better finish for Edmonton in the opening 2 quarters. And time of possession almost dead even.
Yeah, you look at a lot of these numbers almost dead even. Passing yards, Edmonton started to get the edge in the second quarter. Rushing yards almost equal the points. 1-point football game. It is game on in the 103rd Grey Cup.
Almost set. Milo has it on the tee, and Eskimos get it first in the second half. Remember, they won the toss and deferred. Second half underway. And Lawrence back around his 13-yard line. Brings it out just beyond the 25.
As I mentioned, Chris, Mike Riley coming on the field for the first time in this game was down by 13 points. A good drive by Burris to get things started, and then a fumble by Kendall Lawrence. Burris had the ball for 2 touchdowns before Riley got out there, and when he did, no nerves. He was out there chucking it, moving the pocket, using his legs. You mentioned he rushed for 25 yards in the Edmonton Eskimo leading rusher.
Brian Lalge reporting from the sidelines that the Red Blacks did not get a warning from the officials. Nigel Romick, Thunder Bay product, special teamer for the Red Blacks, shaken up on the last kick cover.
Hope that Romick is okay, but this timing may be pretty good for Rick Campbell and his squad just to get organized here. They've been trying to trickle onto the field. They finally sprinted out of that locker room late, and now they've just got to make sure they got the right personnel out there, and defensively they're all together.
So much attention to detail in every aspect that the last thing you'd expect is a late arrival for the second half.
Out of St. Mary's, Nigel Romick looks like he's going to be okay.
So here we go. Andrew Jones, by the way, left guard, 64. Came in to replace Chris Greaves, who started the game at that spot. Won a cup with the Argos in 2012. Dumped off here, and Corey Watson, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, is brought down by Antoine Pruneau.
55 tackles on the year for Antoine Pruneau, and he closes quickly on Corey Watson, but Mike Riley will take that. That's good success on first down. He gets about midway, getting 2nd and 5, 2nd and medium, 2nd and short. Opens up the playbook big, but a nice tackle in the open field by Antoine Pruneau.
First Canadian drafted by the Red Blacks, number 4 in their first season, number 4 overall. Watson gets 5, so it's 2nd and 5. And early movement. Flag comes down, maybe a free play. Darrell Walker, the intended target. Chris Jones wants another penalty in that coverage situation, as the pass falls incomplete.
Got man-to-man. Mike Riley knew it was man-to-man because the Ottawa Red Blacks secondary.
Ottawa, number 93, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Second offside for Justin Capicotti on the night.
Yes, it is, and the first one took a fumble
first down
recovery for a touchdown. I was going to say Mike Riley up. He sees it's man-to-man because the defensive backs were up in the face of the receivers for the Edmonton Eskimos, including Brandon Sermons. No flag for the contact there. The different rule this year, of course, you can only contact the receiver 5 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Capicotti led the Red Blacks in sacks with 12. Former Eskimo, first down after the penalty. Handoff to Shavers, and bounces off the initial contact and finds room for good first down production of 8. Played at Purdue, where his quarterback was Robert Marv, who was with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this season.
Average at Purdue was around 5 yards. Average in limited playing time for Edmonton, 5.5 yards. He got all the yards on his own on that play. The blocking up front broke down, and Shavers did it all by himself.
Second and 2. Kane on the run blitz, and he makes the tackle. Abdul Kane has impressed us this year with his play. Number 14 makes another defensive stop. It is a first down, but Kane active. Led the team in interceptions, forced fumbles with 4, interceptions with 6.
I asked him about the game from their defense. Coming underneath, makes a play on Shavers. I asked him, and he said, we didn't play well in the Eastern Final. We got to play better than that against Edmonton. We're not going to win the Grey Cup.
First down, Mike Riley, pocket collapsing. Riley on the roll now, and he takes off with him across midfield. And is brought down at the 52-yard line. Another 8-yard pickup with the tackle made by Pruneau.
Antoine Pruneau can get around to the football, and that's what he's good at. He just flies to the ball. He'll make plays from the backside. He's dropping in coverage on the zone here, and then he sees Mike Riley, gets underneath him of Corey Watson, and then comes up and makes a tackle on Riley running the football. 8-yard gain, though, and they're in 2nd and short again.
Second and 2 into Ottawa territory. Right side. He's not going to get there. No, just got back to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down.
It looks like to me, where it depends on where they put their foot down and spot this, but this is going to be probably 2 yards. Chris Jones is going to have to punt the ball.
Punting coming out.
Well, that's great job at the point of attack there from Keith Sholigan to take the double team, plug the hole, and make Shavers go to the sideline, and then his teammates, Sholigan's teammates, can rally to it.
Top Canadian of the Grey Cup game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders back in 2010.
I asked him before the game, does this feel any different? He said, nope, they feel the same.
Just the 2nd punt for the Eskimos, unless they've got something on. But Shaw will punt it away. Smith had trouble tracking it, takes it out of bounds. 44-yard punt, and he is stopped inside the 10-yard line. Worst field position start in the game as Ottawa begins at their own 9-yard line. Burris steps up, he's going to air it up, looking deep, and incomplete. Aaron Grimes in coverage, and a flag flies. The intended target, Maurice Price.
Maurice Price was in behind Aaron Grimes, who, by the way, Chris Jones says is his best man-to-man cover guy. And he sort of panics when the ball arrives and tackles him.
Number 36. Spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Take a look at the top of the route here for Maurice Price. He's just straight down the field. Nothing fancy about it, but you can see Aaron Grimes was in trouble. He gets there early, tackles him and brings him down, slaps his hands before the ball arrives. That's pass interference.
41-yard penalty against Edmonton. A punt from Burris. Now he'll take off and lunges across midfield. The ball popped loose. Was he down or not? Edmonton's on the football. J.C. Sherritt's got it, but they're marking Burris down just across the midfield stripe.
Was he down, and was he down by contact, or did he go down by himself? Those are the two things that the officials will look at right now. So there is contact made, and yeah, he's down by contact, so that's
Jefferson with the hit.
Yep, Jefferson with a big hit, but you can see ball still in his control. The elbow hits, he maintains control there, and then it comes out. Ottawa ball.
6 for Burris, 2nd and 4. Stay on the ground. William Powell, first down. Taken down by Pat Watkins. What a great chat Brian Williams had in our pregame show with the legend, Bud Grant, back in Winnipeg.
Head coach, 4 Grey Cup wins with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and when you do that, you get your own statue, and Bud Grant's got one right outside of Investors Group Field here, and he always wears that Winnipeg Blue Bomber hat.
He's to match wins with the Professor Frank Clare. There's a statue of him in Ottawa. Here's Powell again, big yard Campbell, another first down run. Well, speaking of great coaching records, Chris Jones among the all-time best through 2 seasons or 36 games.
Played for Don Matthews, 83 to 85, and there's Frank Ivey, 29-7 in the mid-50s. And how about Chris Jones in that group? That's select company. Talk about football royalty.
First down, Red Blacks stay on the ground. There's a quick cut by Powell. Henry Burris talked to us about his one-cut ability, and you got a glimpse of it there.
Yeah, we're seeing William Powell create with his athletic ability, and Burris starting to attack this Edmonton defense, going back to what they did early in the first quarter. They got it going passing. Now they're going to Powell early in this second quarter and trying to attack all that movement in the Edmonton defense.
Had a couple of 100-yard rushing games late in the season, almost 100 combined here so far today. Second down, Burris to the wide side. Powell brings it down, but Aaron Grimes on the job, and he'll toss him out of bounds short of the first down. So the field goal unit will come on for Rick Campbell, but a successful drive for Henry Burris that started at their own 9-yard line.
Yeah, that's the first goal offensively when you're inside your own 10, is to get out of that zone so you don't have to give up a safety on a punt and a quick 2-and-out. That's why Rick Campbell is happy with this drive. Got the PI to get him out to midfield, so that was penalty aided. But a good drive. We'll see if Chris Milo can finish it off with a field goal here.
Missed a convert from 32. This is from 33. Thomas DeMarco is the holder, and Milo hits it. Red Blacks are back in the lead. Mike Riley and the Eskimos will scrimmage at their 35. They fake the swing pass, looking deeper, and there is Bowman. Darius Bowman over midfield into Red Black territory and dropped at the Ottawa 49.
Yeah, in that break, I was wondering when was the last time that Mike Riley targeted Darius Bowman. The last one was on that drop by Bowman. Goes right back to him here. It's the fake bubble screen to Kendall Lawrence. You can see the pump fake from Mike Riley. Then he's got 2 guys going deep. One is Darius Bowman on that slant route inside, and one on the rail down the sidelines to Darrell Walker. He goes to Bowman, 27-yard gain.
Kevin McCarty in at tight end, a 9-year veteran. 1st and 10. A fake from Riley. It wasn't there, and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Not much more. Jonathan Williams there, along with Sean Lemon. And they're going to mark him just behind the line of scrimmage, so that's a Red Black sack.
Let me show you on that fake bubble screen, that 27-yarder. There's the outside. Now you're going to get the in to Bowman and down the rail. They're trying to get into that short side of the field and use their 2 1 and 2 targets, Darrell Walker and Darius Bowman. Nice throw in the hole there to Bowman.
Loss of a yard, 2nd and 11. 4-man rush. Riley scrambling again. Hit as he delivered it, incomplete. As Ottawa turns up the pressure.
Capicotti and Sean Lemon are going to close here quickly on Mike Riley, and Sean Lemon does a nice job of not hitting Riley in the wrong. He gets him in the target area. Riley again looks to the short side, trying to get to Darrell Walker, Darius Bowman, and Lemon. He targets him below the shoulder. Capicotti had a tough first half, couple of offsides, nice inside stun here, and he's going to flush Riley out of the pocket.
13 sacks for Lemon last year with the Grey Cup champion Calgary Stampeders. Grant Shaw's boot will reach the end zone. This could be a long rouge, 69 yards.
It's not what he wanted to do. No, not what he wanted to do.
Go time here in the 103rd Grey Cup. A 1-point lead for the Red Blacks as they scrimmage from their own 35-yard line. Extra man being sent, and Burris will take off, swing it out, and too high for William Powell in the flat. Looked like Burris was going to take off with it.
I want to take this time to thank all of our men and women in the Canadian Forces watching here and at home and around the world, and Chief of Defense General Jonathan Vance, and everybody, wherever you are around the world. First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for protecting those who can't protect themselves. Get home safe.
And some of our finest let you know they're watching.
Absolutely.
Early in the morning overseas. 2nd and 10, they're going to stay on the ground. Powell on the pitch. And he's cut down by J.C. Sherritt, the middle linebacker. Forcing the 2-and-out.
J.C. Sherritt was starting to take that run game seriously and personally. He came out, takes on the block from Ernest Jackson, fights through that and gets there to stop William Powell and force Ottawa to punt. They got the running game going on the last series. Sherritt took it personally.
Chris Milo, the 6th red-black punter this season. Into Lawrence, number 2 in all-purpose yards. Brings it back across the 45 after a 38-yard punt. 1-point game, late 3rd quarter. Let's head back to the sidelines. Sarah Orleski.
Chris, J.C. Sherritt was the 2012 Defensive Player of the Year. It's been a couple of humbling seasons for him since then, though with injuries as well as having to share his role last season. He said he had to claw his way back, prove to new coaches. Well, Chris Jones says you don't truly appreciate him until you see him in the room. The character and the intangibles allows the 5'9" Sherritt to play like he's 6'3" on the field.
There's a 6'3" receiver, Padarius Bowman, with the catch.
He did that last series. A little shutout there to Eastern Washington. Last time Edmonton was in 2nd and short, Chris, they went to the run game to Akeem Shavers, and Ottawa stuffed it.
Just going to say, it's starting to dig in a little bit into a defensive struggle after a fire wagon start. 2nd and 3. Riley to throw. Wide side for Bowman, too far. And it's a punting situation for the Eskimos.
That wide side of the field's been locked down pretty good. One throw, but for one throw, that touchdown throw to Darius Bowman, Brandon Thompson and Javon Johnson on the wide side have done a pretty nice job in coverage, and that time Brandon Thompson is in the hip pocket of his receiver.
First 2-and-out for the Eskimos. Ottawa's had only 2, and these two defenses were 1 and 2 in 2-and-outs forced this season. Fake on the play, and did they get it? Calvin McCarty, the 9-year man. Let's see where they spot the ball. This looks closer than the Eskimos' reaction to it. The offense staying on the field, but they're going to get a measurement or not. We saw it once last week.
Coaches can't ask for the measurement. The officials can only get it. There's the direct snap to Calvin McCarty. He hits the hole. David Hines hits him. Tackled from behind by Keith Sholigan. Did he get there?
They stretch it out, and he's got just enough. By about the length of the football. That's Chris Jones' style. Lives on the edge.
Well, one of the great coaches that Chris Jones learned from was Don Matthews. We showed you that early graphic, and Craig Dickinson got those special teams units going and got the green light from his head coach.
Take that 2-and-out off the score sheet. The sweep to Kevin Lewis. He's brought down. A terrific play for Justin Capicotti.
Boy, he needed to make that play just for his own peace of mind, I'm sure, because it's been a tough game in some ways for him so far. He's going to step up, read it, and he shoots the block. It was pulling guard coming around the corner, Andrew Jones. He just runs by Jones and catches Kendall Lawrence in the backfield for a 5-yard loss.
maybe their best pickup in the expansion draft.
Absolutely. Him and Keith Sholigan up front, both picked up in the expansion draft.
Loss of 5. Second and 15. Here comes the pressure, and they'll screen it to Corey Watson. First down, Edmonton, and then sent cartwheeling down to the 38-yard line. Didn't stick the landing, but has a first down.
When you get to this game, you lay it on the line, and this time it's going to be Watson. Lines up in the backfield. Nice call by Stephen McAdoo, the offensive coordinator for Edmonton. They're going to screen it out to him with guys out front, and you got some blocks downfield. There's Matt O'Donnell making a nice hit. Justin Sorensen out front, 20-yard gain, and a nice hit at the end of it as well.
20-yard pickup for Watson. There's Stephen McAdoo, architect of this offense, and he's got Mike Riley on the run. Close to another first down. Well, pile up there on the sidelines. Bowman got caught up in the play, and Riley on the limp a bit, wearing a brace on the left knee that was damaged in the season opener in Fort McMurray.
When that happened, they thought, they were worried that Mike Riley might be gone for the year. About a week later, after all the tests were in, he was told that he could make it back by mid-season. And he went down hard on the sideline, and you know he's not running out of bounds or hook sliding in this game. Mike Riley will lay it on the line in the middle of the regular season, let alone the Grey Cup championship game.
Tells you he might still be feeling it. First and 10. Has some time. Loads it up into the end zone, but too far. Through the back of the end zone. The intended target was Stafford.
The other end, Riley hit awkwardly. And there's an Ottawa Red-Black D lineman down.
Could be Moten Hopkins once again.
Let's take a look. Riley's going to step up into the pocket. He gets hit and goes down. It was Moten Hopkins with the hit.
And both felt the effects of that. But Hopkins remains down. Second time he's required attention. And might give number 13 some time to collect himself.
Yeah, that's back-to-back hits on Riley. The one on the sideline, that one on the deep throw. Right in the chest. Reaching for those ribs.
CFL Players Poll voted him again the toughest player in the Canadian Football League.
Edmonton's nominee for outstanding player. As tough as they come at the quarterback position. And one of the great leaders in the game today. His teammates will go through a wall for number 13.
So Hopkins getting set to get to his feet. Eskimos in quest of their 14th Grey Cup. Red Blacks looking for their first at Ottawa's 10th.
Key play in this drive was that screen to Corey Watson. If Riley can convert on second and long here, keep it alive.
Noted that Kalonji Kashama's come into the game, one of 4 Kashama brothers that have played in the Canadian Football League.
Don't forget there was a fake punt on this drive as well. Kept it going.
Joining brothers Akeem, Alam, and Fern Kashama. Second and 10. Riley on the run. Throws incomplete. Trying to connect with Nate Kuhorn. And Antoine Bruneau on the scene again.
I mentioned in the first quarter that teams will test Antoine Bruneau and his coverage abilities, and more than not, Bruneau comes up with it. And that's a bang route there where Nate Coulon gets inside, bang back to the outside, and a nice close by Antoine Bruneau.
So Sean White back in, only missed 2 field goals all season long. Missed one earlier in this game. This from 35 out. And it's off the upright. That's a dead ball. Second miss of the game. And the Red Blacks hold on to the lead through 3 quarters here.
Of offense in that quarter by Henry Burris and the Ottawa Redblacks. Mike Riley did get a drive going here late, and that field goal miss, he gets nothing out of it, and that fake on 3rd down was interesting as well.
It's got to be deflating. That's 2 missed field goals for White. There was a missed convert for Chris Milo of the Redblacks, and it looks like this could come down to a kick.
And that's why those guys have got to exercise the demons there and get those thoughts out of their mind, because it might come down to them.
Burris hands it off. Powell is stuffed and flags are flying.
First 2 series, Henry Burris started the game with a long throw to Chris Williams.
Ottawa, number 64, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's left guard J. Michael Dean.
That throw wasn't complete, but it gave him some room for the next 2 series underneath, and he got the passing game going. They haven't taken that shot deep in this 3rd quarter.
That offensive line anchored by Sir Vincent Rogers, top offensive lineman in the league this year. And an offensive line that didn't miss a man game for injury all season long. Pressure coming. Burris stands in and now dumps it off. And away goes Powell. And he is dropped at the 19-yard line. Otha Foster with pressure on Henry Burris.
Edmonton defense starting to feel it a little bit. They're flying around. That time, Armando Sewell rushed the passer, got up in there, and then chased down Powell from behind. And that's a guy who weighs in at 290.
Edmonton outscored their opponents 148-57 in the 4th quarter this year. Powell got 4, so it's 2nd and 16. And they swing it out of the backfield. It's Powell again. He's going to come out short of the first down. Marcel Young, Dexter McCoyle on the stop after a 13-yard gain.
This time they're going to put Odell Willis inside and Marcus Howard on the outside. They're 2 premium edge rushers on the same side of the defense. Odell Willis goes inside. They try and run a stunt. Burris will dump it out. And then the gang tackling. Nice job of corralling William Powell on the sideline. Dexter McCoyle and Patrick Watkins.
Milo. Good punt. Backpedaling Lawrence said he dropped it. Gets up. And brings it back across the 35 with a penalty flag on the play. We'll sort it out when we come back. 1-point game early. 4th quarter. An illegal block penalty against Edmonton. Brings the ball back to the 20-yard line. Eskimos down by 1, 2 minutes into the 4th. Riley takes a look and now finds Darrell Walker. First down. Bounced out by Brandon Sermons.
That's the scramble rule for Darrell Walker. He's got a go route on the play, but he sees Mike Riley buy time and move around in the pocket, so he bails on it, aborts, and comes back. And when he does come back to the ball, he comes back all the way to the catch, not waiting and giving Brandon Sermons a chance to cut underneath it.
4th catch, 56 yards for Walker, 17 on that connection. Edmonton Johnson 6-3 when trailing after 3 quarters during the regular season. Big pressure on, up for grabs, and it falls incomplete. Over the head of Adarius Bowman with Javon Johnson in coverage and Antoine Pruneau on the blitz.
Pruneau times it up nicely. The snap count, hesitates a split second, and then has a hole right down Main Street to Riley. He had to throw that away. Almost intercepted at the other end by Javon Johnson.
Former Montreal Carabin who fell in that heartbreaker yesterday in the Vanier Cup. 2nd and 10. Riley out of the pocket, directing traffic, throws against the grain. Incomplete, and Corey Watson took quite a hit.
And so did Mike Riley. He got rocked when he threw that football by Damaso Munoz.
Middle linebacker got a shot in on Riley, and the punt team has to come on.
Well, Riley's on the roll. He's going to take the hit to try and complete this for the first down. Wanted a receiver to go deep. He gets rocked there. And on the other end, Corey Watson took a hit as well. They're starting to pop the pads now.
Grant shot a punt. Jamil Smith awaits. Ottawa without a big return all season long. And Smith can't find any room there with Dexter McCoyle, the gunner, downfield in a hurry. Mark Nelson shaking his head, but his defense done a pretty good job in the second half, and now the offense to work. First down, just shy of the Red Black 37. 2 outs on the last 2 series. William Powell's been the busiest man in this offense.
Well, it was William Powell in the first series where Ottawa generated points in this second half. It was a field goal and a drive that William Powell was a big part of it, so not surprised they're going back to it. Second and medium, Burr's going to have to throw likely here.
Go no huddle. Eskimos showing pressure, may have been offside. Here they come, and they get to Burris. There is a flag. Otha Foster brings down the Red-Black quarterback, but it looked like somebody was ahead of the snap.
They loaded the line of scrimmage. Edmonton had them all up there.
Edmonton, number 90. 5-yard penalty.
Almondo Sewell.
Well, usually Almondo Sewell lines up right in the interior of the D-line. This time you'll see him right here as he slides in from the defensive end position into that interior D-line position, and he jumps into the neutral zone. Free play for Henry Burris.
2-time All-CFL defensive tackle. Jump the gun. First down. Nice play fake. And it's LeBlanc. Upended, and he lands at midfield after a tackle from Pat Watkins.
This is the point in the game, Chris, where the players start to feel that they understand what's on the line. Championship season on the line, and time is running out. The MOP of 2015 has the ball and a drive going.
Good first down production of 8. 2nd and 2. Haven't heard from a lot of his weapons in the second half, like Ellingson, Sinopoli. Stands in underneath again. Powell trying to get away, and does. No, he's brought down just short. Watkins recovered after Powell broke a couple of tackles. And it's going to be 3rd and, well, let's see, 3rd and 1.
Now that was 2nd and 2, and Chris Jones throws a curveball when he calls 3-man pressure defensively. He usually does that on 2nd and long. But on 2nd and 2, it surprised Henry Burris, and he dumps it down, and the Edmonton defenders rally to the tackle.
Well, the Red Blacks gesturing as if they wanted to go for it, but Milo sent on to try and pin the Eskimos. Kendall Lawrence lets it bounce into the end zone. So this will be a 72-yard single, not what they were looking for. And the lead is 2. 9:01 left here in the fourth quarter. Back at Investors Group Field. Let's go to the sidelines. Here's Farhan Lalji.
Guys, this game was supposed to be about Henry Burris. It's become about Ottawa's defense. Sean Lemon on his way out just now said, don't worry, Hank, we got this. He went to Jason Moss, went through the exact same things that Suits was talking about in terms of a different look on defense. Jason said it's okay. You did the right thing. No mistakes. It seems like they're content to let this game be won by their defense. Now let's head to the other sideline and check in with Sarah and the Eskimos.
Well, Farhan, is very even keel over here. The mood on the sidelines. Haven't seen a lot change, whether it be second quarter, fourth quarter. This Eskimos is a good fourth quarter team. They've outscored their opponent 91 points in this season.
And Sarah, they're down by 2 with a first down at the 35. Riley play action fake, and the pass is too hot to handle for Corey Watson. That puts them into 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I want to go back to the strategy there. It was 3rd and about 1 for Ottawa. Rick Campbell decided to kick the football away, and he wanted Chris Milo to put it and angle it in the corner, get that field position advantage. He may have gone for it on 3rd and 1 in plus territory, decided not to. It was a great decision. He didn't get the execution out of his kicker. See if his defense can bail Milo out here.
2nd and 10, 4-man rush, and Riley on the run. Lemon in pursuit. Pass underneath, caught, and Shavers will be stopped short. Good tackle there on the play by the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber and top defensive player in the league when he played here, Javon Johnson.
That's a huge tackle at this point in the football game to come up on Shavers. Running back with all those moves in the open field, and there was room to shake a little bit for Shavers in there and make a miss. Javon Johnson may have made the tackle of the game for his defense.
But that is the first 2 and out of the game. Great punt by Shaw. Jamel Smith makes the first man miss and will run out around the 33-yard line. Let's check back in with Farhan.
Guys, Javon Johnson won a Grey Cup ring in 2007 with Saskatchewan, but a couple of years later he sold it because he said he didn't earn it. Now, he was a late addition to the Riders roster after being a late NFL cut, and the day before the Grey Cup, they put him on the practice roster. He wasn't happy with how it ended in Saskatchewan, also not happy with how it ended here in Winnipeg after a standout performance in the 2011 Grey Cup. He says if he can come back here and win that ring in front of these fans in this city, it would mean that much more.
Defense getting the job done so far. There's a fake and a great catch. Ernest Jackson stretches out for the grab up around the 42-yard line.
One of the free agent signings at receiver, Ernest Jackson, with a big catch over the middle. Start this drive in a positive way for Henry Burris.
Did he secure that ball? That hit the ground or not? There's a first down.
No challenge.
No challenge out. And they get the snap off. Burris pumps and now looks deeper, and it's incomplete. Closest man to it was Koshi Mwamba. I'm not sure that that catch by Jackson was secured, but it doesn't matter now.
Well, it doesn't now because of that play that was just run, but I agree. When we looked at it in slow motion, looked like that ball came through and you could see it touch the ground. Now it's a defensive struggle all of a sudden. Field position could be important. That was 10 yards, no challenge from Edmonton.
2nd and 10. 4-man rush, pocket collapsing, and the pass out of the reach of Ellingson. And the punt team has to come on again.
Odell Willis dropped out of there. Was 4-man pressure. Willis dropped, and he was trying to track Greg Ellingson across the middle, and he made it a tough throw. Let's see Odell Willis drop out of there. Ellingson comes on the crossing route. And because Willis is right in that, he was in that hip pocket when Burris wanted to throw it, made it a tough throw for him.
Fourth straight punt for the Red Blacks. A line drive kick into Lawrence. Boy, the punt cover team's done a good job for Ottawa. That was a weakness for the first 2/3 of the season.
Stepped up in the Eastern Final as well against Brandon Banks, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now it's in the hands of Mike Riley. 19 of 32. Closing in on a 300-yard passing game. He finished the season with 4 straight, including the West Final 300-yard passing games. Can he get a drive together now when they need it most?
Won his first career playoff game last week. See if he can engineer a drive to put the Eskimos in the driver's seat. Rush on. Riley steps up. Under pressure. And he takes off again. And he'll get stacked up around the 34-yard line. Just a couple for Riley. And that Ottawa pressure package has been turned up.
Second half of the season, 4 out of his 8 games that he started were over 300 yards passing. The last 3 of the regular season. And remember, Edmonton Eskimos played the defending champion Calgary Stampeders in the Western Final. And Riley threw for over 300 in that one as well. But this Ottawa defense has buckled down in the second half, making it tough.
46 rush yards for Riley on the night. 2nd and 7. And throwing for Bowman. And a flag flies. Kane working against Bowman. And runs into him. And flags fly.
Chris, Darius Bowman draws this penalty. The veteran is going to reach back around Kane and draw the penalty and force Kane to throw his hands up.
Ottawa, number 14. Spotted foul. Automatic first down.
Kane just keeps running, but it's because of Darius Bowman reached around his body to try and reach for that football. Watch the left hand from Darius Bowman. If he just reaches up over his head, there's no penalty call likely. He reaches around and forces Kane to run over.
Ottawa drew the most pass interference and illegal contact penalties this year. That's a 20-yard penalty, and now downfield, incomplete. Looked like he had Darrell Walker open. Sermons recovered just in the nick of time.
Well, did he ever? And Riley will be kicking himself on this one because Brandon Sermons comes up and press on Darrell Walker. You're rolling the dice on that one, and you could see the separation that Walker had, but the throw is short. He has to put the brakes on, come back. It gave Sermons a chance to catch up, and he makes the play at the top of the route.
Chris Jones taking a look at the replay here. Looked like he wanted to challenge, had the flag out. Now he's going to stick it back in the pocket.
Kenny Stafford was arguing with his head coach to throw the challenge flag.
Timeout called Edmonton.
That whole process cost them a timeout here. They called the timeout because Kenny Stafford, coming all the way back from that play, wanted Chris Jones to throw this challenge flag for. Jones said no.
And has to burn a timeout to avoid a time count violation. Unless he wants a little more time for his guys upstairs to take another look here.
Yeah, I think Kenny Stafford wanted Chris Jones, his head coach, to throw the challenge flag and challenge that play that it was pass interference on Brandon Sermons. Chris Jones didn't want to reach into the pocket and do it. He was thinking about it. And Stafford, to the right of your screen, starts arguing with him.
After that last replay, I might have thrown the challenge.
And now he is throwing it. And now he is throwing it. Now they called the timeout so they didn't get delay a game penalty, but it might have bought them the time to take another look at the replay.
Edmonton is challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference. This will be reviewed.
Rule change in the Canadian Football League. If you're watching on ESPN2 south of the border, this year coaches can challenge defensive pass interference. We're slowing it down big time for you. But contact made there. Ball's not arrived in your pitcher yet. And Darrell Walker's not able to reach for it due to that contact. And
after review by the command center, we have defensive pass interference. Ottawa.
Kenny Stafford
spotted at the 10-yard line. Automatic first down.
Kenny Stafford gets an assist there.
Turned out to be a pretty good timeout spent. And Chris Jones, who was 0-6 challenging during the regular season, has a big challenge win here.
Because Chris Jones didn't want to do it.
37-yard penalty. And first and goal at the 10. Parksville, BC's Justin Sorensen getting set to snap it to Mike Riley. Ball dropped. Walker can't hang on around the 5.
Took a peek. Took a peek. Even the best do it. The best do it in the championship games. Tempo offense now. Riley doesn't want Ottawa to make any substitutions. He's calling the next one on the line of scrimmage.
Big play in the football game. Second and goal from the 10. In some trouble, gets away, throws it down, and Kuhorn with the catch, brings it outside the goal line, and they'll mark it at the 1.
Nate Kuhorn had to come back. First of all, Justin Capicotti had the jersey of Riley. He fought that off, extended the play with his legs. Nate Kuhorn had to come back to the football. Now the ball has to cross the plane even if Nate Kuhorn's feet are across the goal line.
Officials conferencing. Looks like it should be 3rd and 1 and no hesitation about going for it.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass at the 1-yard line.
Boy, that's close, isn't it?
Very close. Tough to get perspective from that last angle. A little bit behind the goal line.
Well, the officials continue to discuss it. And they're calling the 3-minute warning here. 3rd and 1 when we come back. In for quite a finish here in the 103rd Grey Cup. Nate Kuhorn did not have a touchdown catch this season. He comes within a few inches, it would appear, for 1 here, but it brings the ball out 3rd and 1. We have a clock issue as well. They rolled off about 25 seconds after the catch. And may have to readjust the clock.
Please reset the clock to 3 minutes and 39 seconds.
Wow.
The clock will start at that time period, and we'll get into the special timing properly at the 3-minute warning.
That could be an important 39 seconds.
That's a lot of time that rolled off because there's 3-minute showing. Take another look at the last play to Kuhorn.
Like it from that angle. Ball never crossed the plane.
Jordan Lynch comes in on 3rd down, plunging, touchdown. Edmonton back in front as Jordan Lynch goes over the top.
Chris Jones wants to go for 2. Kenny Stafford gets the assist. Finally talking his coach into challenging a pass interference. They get down to the doorstep, and Jordan Lynch finishes. A little second effort to break the play. Didn't have it there, and then reached over on that second attempt.
Timeout's called, Ottawa.
So a 4-point lead. They've missed a 2-point convert here tonight. 7 play drives, 78 yards. Hey. And a former Heisman Trophy candidate that Northern Illinois has put the Eskimos in front. Third lead change here.
How many personal fouls you got today?
And Riley back in for the 2-point convert attempt. 5 receivers, fake to Shavers, and Mike Riley does it off. Shavers will score, and it's a 6-point Edmonton lead.
Quarterback coach Jarius Jackson has been working with Mike Riley a ton this year, but when he does take off and run, to run with his eyes up. If a receiver opens up late, dump it off to him, and that's what he does to Akeem Shavers. 2-point convert, good. And Riley well short of that line of scrimmage, a 3-yard line.
So Shavers with a touchdown catch, and now a 2-point convert grab. And the Eskimos with the lead. But a precarious one. A touchdown can still put Rick Campbell's team back in front.
Eastern Final, they are calling it the Miracle on Bank Street. Greg Ellingson, 93 yards. Did they have another miracle?
Here's Jamel Smith with speed, but brought down short of the 30-yard line. Tackle made by Matthew Boulay. And with just over 3 minutes to go, Cup being brought out. An on-time arrival for this Grey Cup. Time for the most outstanding player to go to work. Rushes on, and Burris gets away and gets it into the hands of Jackson, but quickly brought down by Aaron Grimes.
Lots of times here for Henry Burris, the MOP in 2015, to work his offense. Jason Moss will continue to call it from the sideline, but he'll get up on the line of scrimmage and calling the plays from there. But plenty of time in Canadian football. 3 minutes to go.
6 for Jackson, 2nd and 4. 4-man rush. Burris unloads. He's got a completion. It's a first down. And a catch for Mo Price. Winner last year with Calgary.
Maurice Price to the right side of your screen is going to come back on this curl route. He knows the Edmonton secondary is going to give him a little bit more room. They don't want one of these receivers to run right by him.
Going no huddle. Might have time for a couple possessions, so a field goal might still be useful. But they're thinking about more than that. Pass complete, but a quick stop by Watkins after the catch by Greg Ellingson.
Edmonton Eskimos can taste it. All the work, all the self-doubt. They've got a 6-point lead with what was the strength of their team at the beginning of the year, their defense on the field.
Trailed by 13 early. 2nd and 5. Here comes Heat. Burris can't get it away, and he is dropped. Did well to hold on to it. Dexter McCoyle gets to the quarterback.
No hesitation from Rick Campbell. He's putting the punt team out. There's still time to kick this ball away and get a quick 2-and-out and try and get another possession. They were right on the bubble. A few more seconds come off the clock. He might have to go for it, but he did not hesitate.
So it's Milo. Line drive boot. Lawrence at his 20. That's a 45-yard punt, and Lawrence steps out just beyond the 25-yard line. As the cup makes its way down to the sidelines, who will get their hands on it tonight?
Chris, this year, in the games he played, the 8 games in the regular season, actually played 9. Mike Riley averaged more than any quarterback in the league rushing per game. It's this moment right now in this situation that he may just take off and try and find a run lane.
That red-black defense with just 1 2-and-out on the night needs one badly now.
They're going to have to play man behind it and just load up the line of scrimmage. Get him in 2nd and long here.
Hand it off to Shavers. And David Hines will wrestle him down. Good hard run by Shavers.
Well blocked up front. Ottawa knew they were going to run the ball on 1st down, and the offensive line block it up nicely. That right side, Matt O'Donnell and DeAnthony Batiste, their nominee outstanding lineman, they open up blocks even though Ottawa knew they were going to run.
Big play upcoming. 2nd and I'll call it 2.5. Have to get beyond the 36. Shavers with the football, and on the 2nd effort he may have got it. Like Matt O'Donnell, the big right guard, helped push the pile, and you can do that when you're 6'4", 350.
Boy, it's not a coincidence that Matt O'Donnell joined the team this year the same time Mike Riley came back from injury and made his first start. Another one of the big reasons
Timeout's called Ottawa.
that Edmonton didn't lose a game.
Red Blacks stop the clock, 70 seconds to go.
Success on 1st down in that last set of plays. Get 8 yards on 1st down when Rick Campbell's crew knew they were going to run. They got to load it up. That means you put your DBs in man-to-man coverage across the board. You load the box, everybody on the line of scrimmage. Right now.
1st down, stay on the ground, and there's the ball running for another 1st down.
There he goes.
Nothing wrong with his mobility. And the Eskimos can sense it now.
Pound for pound, forget about the position he plays. Mike Riley is one of the toughest players in the game. He hits the hole, takes the hits, breaks the tackle, gets another set of downs.
59 yards rushing. How big was the delayed challenge for Chris Jones that set up the last touchdown? Goes again to Pullman, and Riley just gets underneath the high hit from Kane.
Let's go, Chigger!
Mike's wife Emily here, mom and dad making the trip to Winnipeg. Here's Dad Pat, and they sense it.
Comes down to this play.
The Edmonton Eskimos, 6 wins when they trailed after 3 quarters, trying to do it again in the biggest game of all. Power sweep to Bowman. Another 1st down, and that should do it.
That's game.
President Lindenroad celebrating, and And so are the fans of the green and gold have been waiting a decade for this.
Victory formation for one of the great leaders in the game, and all the MOP can do is watch.
Had the wrong number of players on the field here, and there's going to be
too many men, 13 men in the formation. Edmonton, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Mike Riley's getting them rounded up. There's still 9 seconds left. They know it's over, but he wants to see the last 9 run off the clock.
Chris Jones took over a team that was 4-14 2 years ago. 14-4 here, and they close out the season with their 10th consecutive victory.
The double Gatorade shower for head coach Chris Jones. Well deserved. What a season.
Only have to take one more knee. Hard-fought football game. And they are the city of champions again. Edmonton Eskimos, 2015 Grey Cup champs. All right, ready for the ceremony as the Eskimos celebrate their 14th ever Grey Cup championship. Let's go to the podium and Rod Black.
Ladies and gentlemen, another terrific Grey Cup game here in Winnipeg. Welcome to the awards ceremony of the 103rd Grey Cup presented by Shaw. Joining Matt Dunnigan to present the Most Valuable Player Award is CEO of Shaw Communications, Brad Shaw. Your 2015 Most Valuable Player from the Edmonton Eskimos, Mike Riley.
How about one more time for your MVP of 2015, Mike Riley? This guy epitomizes what it's all about to lead a team. He showed gut and courage. He's been voted 2 years in a row as the toughest player in the Canadian Football League, and I think he proved that tonight. Mike, once again, those legs of yours did a job on the opposing defense. How does this feel?
Man, well, first of all, it's 3 years in a row, toughest player.
Oh, there you go.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you, this award's great and everything like this, but I've been saying it all year, and I'll echo it again tonight. It ain't about this one, it's about that one. And we've been waiting for a while to bring this back to Edmonton. I can't tell you how proud I am to play with these dudes every single day, man. We go out there and we put everything that we have into it, and I'll go to battle with you guys every day of the week, twice on Sundays, man. We're gonna bring this sucker home.
Mike, you spotted the REDBLACKS with a 13-point lead. You hadn't even taken the field. What was going through your mind when you dug your team dug that hole?
Perfect.
Did you hear what he said? He said perfect. That's Riley style. Mike, I know that you've got a lot of celebrating to do, and last year's difficult limped into the West Final. This year, 3 weeks of layout and rest, and you go in fairly healthy into the final, and you get the job done. You talked about being the little brother. Are you the little brother anymore to the Calgary Stampeders or anybody in the CFL?
Not a chance, man. Everybody's our little brother now.
Oh, everybody, your MVP, Mike Riley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the Most Valuable Canadian of the 103rd Grey Cup. The 2015 Grey Cup Most Valuable Canadian from the Edmonton Eskimos, Shamad Chambers.
Shamad Chambers from Wilfrid Laurier, Toronto product. Goes to Edmonton, he's got to come to Winnipeg. It comes out here and flat out ball. Shamad, did you ever think about contributing this much in the biggest game in the year?
Honestly, first off, I want to thank God. Second off, all my teammates, they always gave me the utmost faith throughout everything that happened this year. You know, coming back from my injury, you know, these guys believed in me. The coaches believed in me. And that's all that matters right now is just what we did for this city, man. We get to bring the championship back to Edmonton. And you know what? Like, that's so sweet. That's the sweetest thing in the world.
You've got players like Darius Bowman, Kenny Stafford, Nate Kuhorn, Corey Watson, and of course, Darrell Walker. How's it feel to be in that same group?
Man, it's wonderful. Like, we work every single day. Man, like these guys have just held it down for me this entire time. You know, Big Mike right here. We've had lots of conversations about growing up. You know, I want to thank this guy just for everything he's done for me the last 3 years, man. Like, this is the reason why we're here today, and you know, this is for everybody in Edmonton, everybody back home. We got it, man. We did it.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, your Canadian and the most valuable player 2015 Grey Cup, once again, champions of the Canadian Football League, the Edmonton Eskimos.
And now Edmonton, the moment you've been waiting for 10 years. The awarding of the Grey Cup. Let's go down to Brian Williams.
Clear, right?
We need your mic.
All right, I think we have a microphone that works. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to the country and to the stadium the new commissioner of the Canadian Football League. Here to present the Grey Cup for the first time, please welcome Commissioner Jeffrey Orridge. Welcome.
Great, thanks, Brian. Winnipeg, thank you. The best fans in Canada from coast to coast, thank you for making this an incredible 103rd Grey Cup presented by Shaw.
All right, I know Mike Riley is anxious. The city of Edmonton is anxious. Before you present the Grey Cup, it's your first Grey Cup, and man, do you see a football game.
I think the way it started, I don't think anybody could have ever predicted the way it was going to finish. So congratulations to everybody, especially the Edmonton Eskimos. Great game.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to present the 2015 Grey Cup. Mike Riley, Commissioner, will you present it to quarterback Mike Riley?
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. Il me fait plaisir de présenter la Coupe Grey. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, privilege, and honor to present the 103rd Grey Cup, presented by Shaw, to Mike Riley and the Edmonton Eskimos.
You take it and give it to me.